Good morning and welcome to the Monday Morning Marketing Podcast. I'm Esther.
And I'm Melanie.
And today we're joined by Amanda Webb of spiderworking.com. Welcome, Amanda.
Hello. I'm so excited to be here, having listened to your podcast in the past.
Yeah. It's great to have such a popular fan, you know.
Well, we're really excited to have you with us. And today we're talking about seasonal selling. Now, I know it's not December. So why is it important to talk about seasonal selling now and not just keep Christmas in December?
Well, from a personal point of view, you probably want to create Christmas in December, but from a marketing point of view, you've got to plan. You've got to plan in advance. So what can happen, and I know does happen to a lot of businesses, it gets mid-November and you go, oh, Christmas is coming up. I've got to do some marketing for that. And then what you have to do is you have to come up with your plans. You have to go and create your content. You have to fulfill orders, deliver stuff, go through that hectic Christmas time, all in a space of like 6 weeks, which is a nightmare, right? You can't do it well. And you end up being just totally exhausted. And then you know what happens? In January, you go, well, that wasn't an okay Christmas. But what if I'd started my planning a little bit earlier on? Maybe I could have done my content properly. Maybe I could have had a proper plan in place that would have driven more sales, would have had more happy customers. So if you start, I'm even kind of thinking you should have started a month ago, but it's okay. You still got time.
Don't panic.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to be less stressed. You're going to be able to spend your Christmas period doing what you're good at, which is delivering your product or service. And in the new year, you'll be able to see that you had a plan in place. You'll know what didn't work from that plan. You'll know what did work from that plan, so that next year you'll be even more prepared. So start thinking now, start putting all your dates in the calendar, start thinking about what content projects you're going to do to try and promote your business. Start building your audience with that. I could keep going on, but I'll stop because you've probably got questions.
I have one actually. Does business to business and business to consumer have different types of strategies for Christmas?
Not necessarily. So I suppose, are you selling something? Have you got something that you're selling for Christmas? Because I haven't, but I do have things that I sell in the new year. So I still would be planning ahead with that. But when you're building your strategy, it comes down to the same building blocks, no matter whether you're a business to consumer. Whatever your business does, there's some key things that you would always think about. So if you're not selling anything at Christmas, that's fine. Maybe you don't want to compete in that mad Christmas market, but maybe you've got something going on in January when it's a little bit quieter that you could start planning for now.
Okay. And how about the strategy is mostly written down, I assume. So is there any sort of cost to applications, or can you just do it with sheets of paper or Excel charts? What's easiest?
You can just write it down on a piece of paper. You can use Trello. I use Trello which is it's a bit like an index card planning tool. And you have like a board where you pin your virtual index cards and you can add due dates. So each little task within your bigger project has that. I'm actually on video with Esther and Melanie now, so they can see in the background my second favorite planning tool, which is Post-it notes, which I always have Post-it note plans. Like I have, this is color coded. I have it's beautiful. If only you could see it.
We'll take a screenshot, sure. Share it out.
I'd love to know how you keep them stuck up. Mine always come down.
I'm using, it's a foam whiteboard, which I have.
That's why.
Yeah. So they're all pinned up on that. So that's kind of, it's very similar to Trello. So I would have a Trello board which has more information on it than you could possibly put on Post-it notes. But my Post-it notes remind me of the tasks that need to be done. And what I like is getting my big marker. I just did this yesterday, so nothing is ticked off, and getting my big marker and ticking off the Post-it notes when the work gets done. It's so satisfying. But you do really need to break it into those tasks, and Trello really helps you with that.
Yeah, and like you were saying, you know, it would be different for B2B as opposed to B2C, but even for those who are selling a physical product, you can't leave it all the way up to December for your marketing, because there's postage dates, there's, you know, international dates. Like I think it's the end of November to post to other countries, which just brings it. And I know of businesses who start their Christmas marketing in July, which as a consumer is really annoying, because my Facebook feed, my Twitter feed gets filled up with Christmas stuff, and I'm going, no, turn off, stop following. You know, how do you get over that?
So
conflict?
I suppose, yeah, all year you can be, there's things you can be doing now. Firstly, you've got your planning, right? So that's important. You need to know who are your customers. And then you need to start building your audiences of those customers now. You're not mentioning Christmas, but you're producing content that's going to attract the right people into your social media, onto your mailing list, onto your website. Because once you've got those in place, when it comes to the Christmas season, you've got your captive audience. So not only should you be building them, maybe you've got loads of followers somewhere already, you need to make sure you're engaging as many of those as you can so that you're already on their mind. So if they're reading a blog post from you every week about, like I have a customer that does jewelry, she produces a blog post a month about questions people have about her jewelry, how she produces it, the process of doing it, you know, all sorts of useful information. If they're reading that all the way up to Christmas, where are they going at Christmas to buy? They're going straight to her, right? But she's not going to mention the C word until probably November. I think, you know, it's kind of agreed in Ireland, at least, that after Halloween, we can start talking about Christmas. So.
Yeah. I couldn't cope talking about both at the same time, frankly, just on a personal level, not even nothing to do with
love
business.
Christmas. I absolutely love it. Like Brown Thomas opened their Christmas shop the other day, and that's a clever marketing strategy itself. You know, the fact that it gets on the news every single year when they open their Christmas shop because it's so early. And this year it got on the news because they opened it a bit later because of the lockdown.
So different strategy. Plus they do their windows just amazing.
They do an amazing job.
Yeah, that's all the visuals and the graphics, you know, and all the imagery that people want to see, and that's what they'll be sharing and talking about. It's like the John Lewis advert. You know, every Christmas they seem to come out with something, and not just them, there's other ones, you know, but they all seem to compete over who has the most like heart-pulling or funny or whatever advert. And it's going to be weird this year, you know?
Yeah, that's a really good point, actually, because at the end of the day, the people who are listening to this podcast are going to be small or sole traders, small business owners or sole traders, and they don't have the budget for TV commercials, and some of them won't have, you know, prize locations on high streets. So what can they do that will be different to their competitor?
I suppose is they don't need to have that budget to do that, because they imagine how many customers, cats just come into the room, by the way, if you heard that. How many customers does John Lewis need in order to turn a profit on what they spend? Right, it's a lot. So firstly, you don't need to worry that you don't have that budget. Secondly, when you mentioned the Brown Thomas window, actually, it just occurred to me that that's always massive every year and everyone's crowded around to look at it. That's not going to be the case this year. How are they going to translate that online? That's going to be
a tricky one. Yeah.
A struggle for them. If you're a small business, you just need to, if you're a one-person business, I think your personality is key. You need to start looking at your personal brand as part of your business. So start looking at that now, developing it. Make sure people are getting to know the face behind your business. When I first started out, it was really popular to kind of lie about the size of your business. So you'd always say we, and you'd always be behind a logo, right? But now people want to know who they're doing business with, particularly if it's a small business. You know, there's all sorts of strategies big businesses can use to get that personal touch. But the advantage we have is it's us. Secondly, don't waste your time chatting to everyone that you can online, which is lovely, but you really need to get exactly the right people. So, you know, it's all very well attracting hundreds of people, thousands of followers, but unless those are people that are going to potentially buy from you, or people that are going to amplify your message to the people that will buy from you, you're wasting your time. So finding a small niche of something that you do exceptionally well and the right people that want that thing will work exceptionally well. So that's one advantage a small business has, I think. You don't need to spend, would put aside some money for ads, because really, otherwise you're working yourself really hard, rather than just spending a little bit of money on ads. You have to work like 50 times harder, which, nobody has time for that.
Because also in previous years, there were the craft fairs and there were the small marketing fairs and stuff. So, everybody's going to be online now, or everybody should be online now anyway. But how do you get seen above everybody else? That's going to be the other, sticking point.
Yeah, you have to be creative. One of the things I'm really excited about, and I'm really hoping I'm going to see a lot of small businesses doing this, is kind of online auctions. So doing a Facebook Live, or depending where your audience is, whether it's Twitter or LinkedIn or YouTube, and actually selling directly to your customers and making that a big event. So if you were used to doing all those craft fairs, all the money that you spent getting the tables at the craft fair, put together a strategy to build up to that event so that you make sure that lots of people turn up. Put together your budget into both your ads, and if you can afford someone to do a bit of work for you, maybe Melanie doing your social media posts, that can help take the
and
pressure.
Amanda doing your ads.
And Esther doing your website.
But I would take that money and make this big event, make this something special that your customers want to know about. Make sure the world knows it's going to happen. And that could be really effective at really pushing your business out there. Before, you may even get sales beforehand, but if you say, well, there's going to be a discount on the day, it doesn't have to be a big discount, something extra that you get on the day. If you do my online auction, I think that could work exceptionally well. And I'm really excited to see some businesses take this up. So if you do, let me know.
Tag us as well. I'd like to hear about this as well.
Yeah, be great. And what about I was just looking through, because you wrote a blog about this recently, didn't you, Amanda? You wrote it, I think it was back in July. You even wrote the blog about holiday marketing and some top tips on how to succeed. But and we were talking just before we came on about I've been seeing a lot of people putting together advent calendars, a lot of marketers putting together, top tips and top things. Now, is that just because I'm in that zone that I see them? Either way, would those also work for, what's your opinion on that? Is that a good strategy? Is that just a...
I think it's going to, if you plan it out really well now, so I'm going to keep saying the same thing over and over again, and you have what do you want to get out of that? What is it that you want to get out of your 30 days of tips? Is it just or 24 days, sorry. What is your goal out of that? Is it to build your audience? If so, that's a legitimate goal. Don't let people tell you that, it isn't. That's a legitimate goal. But then you should set yourself some goals around that. How much do you want to build your audience? Who is your audience? Which is the hardest question to answer. Everyone always skips it, but it's also the most important thing. Instead of going and writing a blog post or making a video, go work that out. It's hard work, but it's going to inform everything else. So those are two things you want to know. Who's your audience? How much you want to create? What sort of content is going to appeal to them, but still have some relevance to what you do? So, I put a picture of my cat on Facebook yesterday. It got more likes than anything I've ever put on Facebook.
Bonkers, isn't it?
I mean, I love her, but she's not the cutest cat. No, she's just a cat. She is adorable, but you wouldn't really capture that from the photo. But don't be tempted to do that, right? Because it is tempting. Put a picture of your cat up. So really map out what sort of content. Do they like watching videos? Do they like listening to podcasts? Do they look at images? Or maybe you want to put a mixture of that in so you're reaching a lot of people.
And rotate your content.
Make sure it's really good, so they're going to want to see the next day's one. And then the third thing is you can't rely on the Facebook algorithm or the Twitter algorithm or the LinkedIn algorithm to deliver it every day. What they'll do is they'll deliver 3 at a time or none at all. So maybe start building an email list and say, I'm going to do this for Advent, 24 tips for Advent. You'll get 24 emails over 24 days. Don't worry, you can unsubscribe afterwards. But, if you subscribe, I'll send you a link every single day. And that could be a more engaging way to do it and maximize your reach.
I was going to ask you about email lists actually, and about lead magnets, because that would be a really handy way to initially give away some of your knowledge or your details about your products or services, and then reward that person with a second lead magnet that then takes you on to possibly purchasing something, your product or your service. So how many lead magnets do you think people need to prepare for their campaign?
I would go one at a time. So I've got a lot of lead magnets, but I promote one at a time just so as not to confuse myself or anything else. So lead magnets are exceptionally effective at building your email audience, but you need to make sure that lead magnet is right for getting the audience that you want. Again, I could send out a lead magnet with cute pictures of my cats, but some of those people might have a business that want cute pictures of cats, but most of them are just going to be cat lovers, so that's not going to work. I'm also a big fan of creating something really epic as your lead magnet. I have lots of little checklists and things that I give away, but my key lead magnets I put a lot of time and effort into. I'm currently working on my 2021 digital marketing strategy workbook, which should be out at the beginning of November, which is replacing my current lead magnet, which is a masterclass. So it's an hour-long video. It took me a long time to put together. It's fully edited with tutorials and everything. But I'm a big fan of doing something big, because just a checklist isn't really telling me, are those people really interested in what I'm doing? So I you wouldn't want to do too many at once, but I would always have something on the go, lead magnet wise. And just for GDPR reasons, just in case anyone's going, I thought you couldn't do lead magnets anymore. Just make sure that you have a checkbox where people can choose to subscribe to your newsletter. So my lead magnet will usually come with an email sequence that's attached to it. So you get the lead magnet, then you might get a tutorial on something, then you might get another helpful video on something, and then you get a sales post, and then they're gone. Then they're gone for good. Whereas if they tick the box to join my newsletter, which approximately 50% of the people who sign up for my lead magnets do, that means I can keep emailing them. So I haven't just got that one chance to sell to them, which is really important. If you're B2B as well, I have people buying from me now that signed up to my email list 4 years ago. So it's really important to grow that list.
I'm one of them.
What, that you signed up or that you're buying from her now?
4 years ago, and I've bought products from Amanda as well. So this is the important thing. The golden nugget, I reckon, you've just dropped just now at the end about lead magnets and email lists. People think they're dead because of GDPR. It's not the case at all.
No, it's getting complicated, but it's it's not the case. So, and that means less people are doing it, which is good for your business, because if you do it, then there's less competition.
And I love the fact that Amanda has managed to talk about a lot of our previous podcasts episodes that we have already talked about lead magnets. We've already talked about the importance of planning, the importance of getting your online avatar, your persona, your buyer persona ready. So we're doing, listen to us. We are doing it right. And, Amanda's just told you that as well, so go back through all the other previous episodes as well and listen.
We've got one more thing to plug, haven't we, Esther? And that
is
the fabulous festive marketing masterclass with Spiderworking. Amanda Webb, tell us all about it. How can we learn more?
So that is my current lead magnet. If you want to market your business for Christmas and you've got a taste today and you go, oh yeah, I really should do something, don't wait any longer. You can do my free masterclass, which I will ask for an email address. You will get an email sequence. You won't be subscribed to my newsletter unless you tick the box at spiderworking.com/festive. And what you get is instant access then to the 1 hour masterclass, plus a workbook, plus we talked about Trello, a Trello template. So you've got everything in place to get your marketing going now. So go ahead and sign up for that. Let me know how you get on with it. Do let me know if you heard about it on this podcast.
Yes, please. Yeah, do that.
Yeah. And that's great. And Amanda, we actually met when you were speaking at, I want to say Women's Inspire Network. I can't actually remember where it was. But it was, wasn't it? And you were a fabulous speaker on stage, and I'm sure you're a fabulous speaker virtually as well, but you are available for virtual speaking events. So they should get in touch with you definitely and get you booked in, because Amanda is just full of useful information and top tips and everything else.
And her digital coffee on a Friday as well. Let's not forget about that.
Should have mentioned that, shouldn't I?
But get signed up to her email list. It really is very, very useful. I'm sure I'm on it too. That's it for today, guys. Thanks very much for joining us. Connect with us, connect with Amanda, and we'll hear from you soon. Bye-bye.